Welcome back. Let's now get underway with our Kickstarter discussion, and Hoima by-elections is what we shall be talking about. For the past few weeks, people in Hoima districts have been caved in political campaigns ahead of the election of a chairperson after the seat fell vacant on the 17th of March this year due to the death of the then elected LC5 chairman Kadiri Kirungi. Today, they are going to the polls to fill the position. We are going to be talking what will be happening. In the studio, I have with me the head of institutions at the National Unity Platform, David Musiri. Many thanks for joining us. You are clad in uniform. I'll be asking you a question shortly. Let me first finish the rituals of introduction. Emmanuel Kisembo is a youth leader, precisely Executive Director at the Bunyoro Kitara Youth Initiative. Many thanks for joining us too.
Thank you.
Let me first dwell with the man who is clad in what appears to be army regalia on the part of the National Unity Platform. Are you a Major General? Are you a 4-star General? Or we are talking to a captain?
Probably, I think, first of all, I want to thank all our viewers and listeners out there, and I want to start on a sad note that things are not happening well in this country, just like it has been before.
No doubt, I want to appreciate that, but there is the optics I need to get down to. I'm mesmerized by the uniform you're putting on. It has the Uganda flag, just like the UPDF. It has, I don't see the insignia that indicates the rank. Am I?
That's actually the misinterpretation, because, for example, as NUP, as People Power Movement, we have what we call a beret, and the beret is our identity. It is not actually only the People Power Movement in Uganda that uses the berets, but all revolutions from the left. For example, socialists have used berets. If we go to South Africa, we see the Julius Maremas, the EFF, use berets. And in South Africa, there is not any day military or police or any security agent has come out to declare them that maybe now they are using police uniform, because this is something that is known. Actually, I want to inform you that for Museveni, General Museveni cannot be exonerated, because while I was in Tanzania, I want to let you know that, for example, I was having a conversation with Professor Shivji. He's one of the most eloquent and the last people standing that we have as the people that are anchored on literature. And they know whatever we are doing. But back to your question. This is not an army uniform. It is not. But this flag is, this is our nation. This is to remind that people can misuse these flags, because I can tell you today, as we see, sometimes we see the uniforms of police, we see the uniforms of the army. People even misuse the taxpayers' money, because these uniforms they put on, they are bought, they are procured on taxpayers' money, and we have seen now it creates a very bad image. For us as liberators, we must remind our countrymen and women that this is still our nation, this is our country, Uganda, and this is our representation. I can tell you, I was in Ghana recently, and I went with our flag, actually, for your information. I went with our flag, and everyone admits and appreciates how we come from the power of Africa.
The power of Africa.
And the beauty of the power of Africa. And we do not want our children to forget this.
Before Emmanuel Kisembo begins to think that I'm skewing this particular conversation, I needed to understand the pomp and color that is associated to the kind of fatigue that NUP leaders are very flamboyant when it comes to appearances. But with regard to the politics of the day, the fact that the people in Hoima are going to the polls today to elect a new LC5 chairman following the death of Kadiri Kirungi in March, I just want you to give me more like an update on the state of affairs in Hoima. You come from Bunyoro Kitara region, you are a youth leader. What is the tempo?
Yeah, that is something very, very important. And of course, NTV, I have to give you a credit to go through that, because when you look at Hoima, Hoima is like a national treasury. USA, France, China, South Africa, all eyes on Hoima. It is a national issue.
Yeah.
It is not just a local issue as maybe other people may take it, but it is a national issue. That local politics within there. We have had complaints of land grabbing in Hoima, and people have really acquired chunks of lands to triple the price immediately this Kabale International Airport is concluded. I'm seeing people tripling prices, and people have real acquired lands. So Bunyoro has a lot of issues, and that's why it should be really in the news, and every person should know. One, we have had primaries of NRM in the Hoima districts, which is alleged that it was rigged. It was rigged by one of the uncles of one of the candidates, who was the brother to Kirungi, Kadiri, that is the Chikube RDC Amlan. The whole confusion surrounding the politics in Hoima, it is actually originating from one called Amlan. And whatever is happening right now, NRM having almost 2 candidates. We have 2 candidates almost, because Savannah, we shall not deny that is not from NRM, and even one that is the son of the deceased, who is also from NRM. But the ticket or the flag bearer of NRM, that flag was rigged, because most people were ferried from the neighboring districts like Chikube to the borders, and that flag was not really transparent. So all problems are coming there, but the contention is between the independent and the NRM flag bearer. And at the final, at the end of the day, we shall see either the NRM flag bearer going through, or we shall see the independent going through. Then there is what we call the Catholic factor, which is really determining Hoima politics. You have seen Mary Mugasa has not appeared on any platform campaigning for the NRM flag bearer. That one shows you how the Catholics are deep. Even seeing these reverend fathers going openly in churches, asking for votes from the voters to vote for Savannah. So that one shows you that the Catholics are really into this. And you have seen Mugasa did not go through any election, but she's a minister just because the Catholics in Hoima, they always have that bargaining power on national cake. So that is what is surrounding Hoima. There is heavy deployment per sub-county, almost about 10 vehicles of police pickups, not more than above 1 RDC in every sub-county, a DPC, not more, actually it is above 1. A DPC, they can be 2, 3 in a sub-county, a DISO, the RDCs from Rwenzori, RDCs from Bunyoro, RDCs from Toro, all are camped in Hoima with heavy deployments. So we see actually whether they have been deployed for peaceful kind of elections, I don't know. But what we notice is that there is heavy deployment there. And also the fact of NOP. We have seen NOP and the opposition, they are divided. So the opposition in Hoima, it is very, very weak because their votes, the FDC, NOP, and of course the NOP candidate, FDC candidate, you will find that all their votes are what? Divided.
Divided. Interesting perspective there. We have a NOP official here who will be quickly responding to that, but let me first go to my man on the ground, Stephen Mbide, who is with the chairperson of the Forum for Democratic Change, beleaguered at this point in time. because the party is currently in some kind of storm. Waswa Birigwa is with Stephen Mbide. Let's go and hear from the FDC Honcho. Very good morning, Stephen.
Yes, morning to you, Chris. This is Busabala, indeed, at one of the places that are owned by the FDC chairman, Waswa Birigwa, Ambassador Musajja wa Kabaka.
Omulongo.
Good morning to you, Omulongo.
Omulongo, good morning to you, listeners and viewers. I'm so happy to be with you. This is the day the Lord has made. Make it, do it.
All right, the Lord has made this day, but from your camp as the chairman of FDC, all is not well. Your extraordinary meeting hangs in balance after the police statement warning you against going ahead with the plans and saying that you should reconcile your differences within the party, make your house in order, but also or go to courts of law and sort your issues out from the court. They're not ready to give you the much needed security and support that you asked for.
Thank you so much for that question. Police business is police business. My business is my business. I'm the chairman of FDC. I have not broken any law. And the police, last I checked, was that they're supposed to protect all of us, despite the differences we do have with each other. And some of them also have problems at home, but nobody comes into their house and tells them, now you separate, don't beat us each other, and otherwise we're going to arrest you. So I believe it's just a misunderstanding of what we are as FDC and I as a chairperson, and the differences seemingly that are there. So I do not want to dwell into what the police decision is. All I can say is there's a misunderstanding. In a few hours we'll be meeting with them to see if we can resolve these differences.
Do you want to confirm that from here you're going to try to seek audience with the police so that you can go ahead with the meeting on Tuesday next week?
Well, I'm just going to make a statement. This is my statement. The police issued, by the way, I've not even received the letter. I've just seen it on social media yesterday. I don't have a letter in my hands, so I can only conjecture what was stated as according to the social media. But if that's the truth, then be it. Then we have an opportunity to discuss and see the way forward. But I think there is some misunderstanding which needs to be explained properly. And hopefully out of our discussions, a mutual agreed position will be reached.
You know, the police responsibility is to offer you security. Your responsibility is to inform them about the meeting. But from their assessment and looking at the way things are going, they seem to say that all is not well and they are not ready, because maybe for them their judgment is that there is something that needs to be done. Is there something that you haven't done as the convener of this meeting?
I believe you went through a gate and you can see it's secured already because we have we have a wall around it. What we have in the front of us is down there is the lake, Narubale. So I don't see what the security issue is as long as those who wish to do us harm are taken care of by the police, and that's their job. So for me, I'm not afraid. I believe that the police would, as they would for any citizen, provide us security, because we have informed them, and we also even met them with pretty high up, including their lawyer. And so, as I said before, I am afraid that there's, I think, a misunderstanding of whether we, as FDC or as the chairman of the party, has the powers to call a meeting.
Yes, you have the powers under the Constitution to call a meeting, but according to the statement that I'm referring to now from the police, they say that you are advised to reconcile the party position or seek resolution from the courts of law to avoid, mark this, avoid likely open conflict and possible clashes. And we've seen clashes before. Maybe they have a point in this.
But why should we be anticipating clashes right here? We have not taken the meeting at Najanankumbi, because if we had gone to Najanankumbi, then I can imagine, okay, there should be some conflict. But this is a privately owned place where guests are invited. They can come anytime, and we are licensed to have guests. What we did was to simply inform them that we are going to have this gathering, and please provide, and they indeed said they were going to provide the necessary security. So measures, unfortunately, you're reading from social media, and I have not received a letter, but commenting on what you just said, the police have their rights and their understanding, and obviously we have. So we are going to sit and see what we can be able to resolve out of this. If we are, and I don't see a problem sitting down and discussing, and maybe they misunderstood us, or we misunderstood them as what's the role of police.
You know, Ambassador, when you see you as the chairperson or chairman of the party, FDC, you wrote to the police first, asking them for security and cooperation. And the Secretary General of the party wrote after you. And police coming to you after the Secretary General writing to them, do you get a feeling that maybe the police is taking sides in this gathering that you're planning to hold?
I'll reserve my judgment and let the viewers and the listeners come to their own conclusion. All I can simply say is that according to the law, I have been able to approach them. I wrote to them. I even went to see them. And that's when I left, we had agreed the way forward. So I was surprised to hear this new development. And I believe, after having heard, there may be some misunderstanding of what we intend to do, or what we are, and all that, and what the police is required to do for us. So hopefully we'll be able to resolve these things when we meet this morning.
You've been on a drive to raise some money to fund this meeting because the party, that is the president, the party other party structures from the president and the Secretary General, said no to fund this extraordinary meeting. How much money have you been able to raise in this due course?
I'd like to first and foremost to inform our viewers that the budget was not my budget. The budget was the Secretary General's budget and the Treasurer. All I did was request, and they prepared the budget. And after preparing the budget, they themselves, they presented the budget to the working committee, which sits, and they decided not to fund the delegate conference. There is no anywhere in our constitution where we're told that we cannot fundraise.
You know, the concern from the president is that maybe this is part of the, in quotes, dirty money. They don't know the source of the money, that someone could be funding you, would be kind enough to give you the money, but could be likely put the party in jeopardy.
The last I heard was that the one dealing with the dirty money. I've never received a penny. I presume that they have some left, I hope. And as far as we are concerned, we have not received, I repeat, have not received anything from the government of Uganda, from Museveni, from anybody that they have been trying to associate ourselves with. Nobody. It's only the people, members, who love this party dearly. Mind you, we have people who have lost their relatives. We have people who have been jailed. We have people who have, who have relatives who were killed. Take, for example, Dr. Kiza Besije. Recently, we were somewhere in Toro, and we went to visit a young man who is crippled in a wheelchair because of FDC. Okay? I have a mandate when there's disharmony within the party to call the owners of the party, those who really love it, not the one ba 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 ba.
Okay.
Okay.
Finally, for you, Ambassador Waswabirigwa, is the United Forces of Change, you as FDC, you as NUP, been working together before. Today you are in Hoima for another by-election, but we've seen the police coming out and say no to the rallies or mobilization tours of Robert Kyagulanyi of NUP. And two, we are even seeing now still the police coming and saying no to the extraordinary meeting. What does this speak to you as opposition forces who have been working together, but now even in Hoima you're fighting, battling each other, and the police says no to the rallies, no to the meetings?
Well, let me put it this way. The elections now in Uganda is a confused situation. I don't think we should continue to participate in the elections, and I believe there's some fundamental changes that need to take place, and people to understand what the elections is all about. This is the only opportunity for the citizens of this country to really come out and say, this is what we want, this is what we don't want, this is the person we feel can protect our interests, and this is the person who cannot. That's the only time. And I don't see why the state or the government interferes in such activities, because this is what democracy is all about. So stopping Honorable Kyagulanyi from moving about, again, I believe what I've heard was not because of any fracas. It was related to the statements attributed to Honorable Kyagulanyi, that he said certain things in Luwero, and they looked upon it and they said maybe this is not the way to go, so you should not continue with this. So I don't have really the details of this, but I believe all the political parties should be free to move about and to send their messages, just the same way as Mr. Museveni's party, National Resistance Movement, to move about throughout the country. FDC is used to it, and but we have never been, afraid or stopped by the police, because the police says, for us, we have always been able to move simply because of defiance. But this should not be so. I think we mature enough after so many years of independence. I would believe that Mr. Museveni is comfortable enough to allow this to happen. In fact, I was even surprised that Mr. Kyagulanyi is being able to move about all throughout the country without hindrance. But I believe now they saw that there was a swelling, and they were a little bit afraid of the outcome of it. So nevertheless, that is another issue with the police and NUP, but I wish they were allowed to continue with their...
Okay, finally, there is a by-election in Hoima, and you as FDC, you have a candidate, NUP has a candidate, and NRM as well as independents. We haven't seen bigwigs from FDC campaigning for their candidate. What does this tell about the party and the candidate?
I would like to say that this question will be best answered by the Secretary General and the President of the party. They are the executive. I'm a little bit higher than that, and my problem right now is to see that we have a delegate conference on the 19th September, and all of you are welcome. Thank you.
Last word to the viewers as we go back to studio.
My last word. For the viewers, we love you. Thank you so much for your support. Yes, we have some problems, but these will hopefully will be resolved. I repeat, the reason why I'm holding the delegate conference is so the owners can decide the way forward for our party, because we seem to be a little bit confused. And for me, as a caretaker and working on behalf of the delegate conference or the owners of the party, I feel that it's necessary we sit and discuss and come with the way forward. And I don't see why the Amriats and the Nandal are so scared of this. And the democracy is supposed to be democracy. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe their masters have told them not to go ahead with this one.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ambassador Waswabirigwa, the FDC National Chairman, but also Musajja wa Kabaka. Coming to you straight from Busabala, and I'll hand you back to the safe hands of Chris again in the studios.
Thank you very much, Stephen Mbide, for that interview. Of course, speaking to the chairman of the Forum for Democratic Change, Waswa Biriga, who gives a preamble to what he calls a confused landscape of politics and elections in the country. On the fact that the Forum for Democratic Change is vying for the LC5 chairperson seat in Hoima today, we do have Patrick Musinguzi. The dynamic, or what is behind the scenes, is that Patrick Musinguzi is backed, apparently, by Patrick Amriat and Nathan Nandala Mafawi. The two officials are the ones that are pitted against Waswa Biriga and his faction. Currently, that is the storm within the Forum for Democratic Change. But the other candidates in the by-election are independent, widely known as Savannah, and then the National Resistance Movement's Uthman Mugisha, as well as the National Unity Platform's Moses Aguda. The latest from Hoima indicates that there is a heavy downpour in Hoima City that has affected voting, where 94,000 voters are expected to cast their ballots in 173 polling stations. The details will be coming up a little bit later, but let me return to the studio to our guests. I have with me the head of institutions at the National Unity Platform, David Musiri, as well as the executive director of the Bunyoro Kitara Youth Initiative, Emmanuel Kisembo. Let me start with David Musiri. In light of Moses Aguda's candidature for the LC5 by-election in Hoima, which of course you do hope to win today, no doubt, like any other candidate in the race, what is he offering the people of Hoima?
The biggest challenge in Hoima as we speak now is land grabbing, and that's where my brother Aguda Moses has focused all his and galvanized all his efforts around land grabbing. Very many people have been displaced, but it has not started today. In 2012, you know, sometimes the government and General Yoweri Museveni has always masqueraded that he's the one who has found out this oil, and there are certain things that from the time of colonialism, these were discovered. For example, the airport of Hoima was gazetted during the colonial rule, but as per 2012, very many people were displaced from where the airport is supposed to consume, and up to date, these people have not been compensated. Of recent, there is what has also even caused a global protest. I think, you know, as for me, I am an activist, but also a climate activist. There is the problem that we have in this country, and it is the East African crude oil pipeline. As we speak now, thousands and thousands, 10,000s of people in Hoima have been displaced. And they have never been compensated. And it is a very big challenge everywhere you go. Even when sometimes people look to be Flamboyant, and when you see some people are very reluctant and they tell you, this is the Hoima city, we have the posh hotels today, we have the nice infrastructures, and I am telling you, the people of Hoima are not happy at all. They are not gaining in what would be their cake. They do not have a share, and this is what as NUP has focused and galvanized efforts to achieve, because we are who we are because of the people power, because of the people, because of the power of the people. Okay. Therefore, for us, that is the focus of my brother, our candidate, Moses Aguda, who has a very, very big background of the institution.
All right.
Yes.
Emmanuel Kisembo, as an outsider of the political contest today, you are watching, like many of us. Moses Aguda of the National Unity Platform, as spoken about by the head of institutions, does he offer the kind of, I don't know how to describe it for now, but is he a formidable candidate on the ground from the way things look?
Yeah, when you look at things in Bunyoro,
Does he attend to the issues of the youth?
I don't think so, because when you look at this vote, particularly in Hoima, FDC has a youth candidate. Nope has one, is also a useful candidate. Even the NRM has one. Then Savannah. So when you look at...
Savannah is the independent.
Yeah, Savannah is the independent. So when you look at this election, it is almost like versus the youth versus the elders. So many people think Savannah may really is old enough to drive the district forward. Much as I'm a youth, I may not be in support of him, but many people think so. Then the other issue is talking about Aguda attending to. There are so many issues surrounding Bunyoro, because Hoima is the headquarters of Bunyoro. Bunyoro or Hoima does not get the services of western districts. Talk about the Mumbarara, Kabale, look at the sugarcane growers, the tobacco. All these people are in pain. Government has not attended to them. They have used their mafias to evict people from the lands without consensus. People have not yet been paid. So there are so many things when you talk about Bunyoro. And the whole thing is actually confused in Bunyoro. Because that's why you see the President Museveni himself has not come. He has not gone there. He has abstained.
Actually,
why? Because there is the Catholic factor and this issue of now this other candidate of NRM is a Muslim. And when you look at the Koloping headquarters in Uganda, they are in Hoima. That one tells you...
Koloping, that is...
Koloping, Uganda. That one tells you, or it speaks by itself, how Catholics are rooted in Hoima. So the issue now has been left to Nabanja, who has come in to trying to prove to the boss that she can deliver. But at the end of the day, this vote is between two candidates, the NRM flag bearer and the independent. Because there is a lot of money, by the way, being given to people per village. Not less than 200,000 is being given by the two candidates, the independent and the NRM. Then another is the items they are giving out, the sugar, the shop, and the salt. They are giving. As they move in, they give in. Sugar, salt.
Moses Aguda is not... What is he?
No,
he does not.
They are not.
You don't have reports on Moses Aguda?
No, they are the NUP candidate and FDC. They are not. But it is between NRM and the independent.
In other words, the candidates of FDC and NUP in this particular by-election, they are participants. They're not really looking.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
I really wanted to give information.
No, please. Very quickly. I want to ask you the question.
A quick one.
Police action.
I just want to inform my brother here. Maybe he's not updated very well. I have spent a lot of time in Hoima. I was there even when they were nominating. Aguda was almost not nominated. He was the first candidate they had given time to nominate, and he was nominated last on the last day. I want to also inform you that actually the true opposition candidate, there is United Forces of Change in Hoima. There are three parties that never fronted their candidates, even when they had. One is UPC. I know if you have been in Hoima, not only in Bunyoro Kitara, because he's giving the whole opinion.
Give us the information.
But the candidates of UPC was very strong. Right now, as we speak, if you know a man called Matia, who was the second run-up in the former elections, and actually in the national elections, as mayor of Hoima, is behind Aguda. As we speak now, Ant is behind Aguda. The real FDC is behind Aguda, as we speak now. So no one should actually underestimate what Aguda can bring in this election. It is only very unfortunate that most of the cases, and most times, the government and General Museveni in particular, he has always portrayed NUP as the Buganda thing, and that is what sometimes people want to portray here, even on national TVs. But I think everyone was proved by the many numbers, the people, the population that could turn up for all our countrywide tours.
As we wind up, I'll be returning very shortly to that issue. But what Swabirigo spoke about, the fact that they are not really invested in this Hoima.
Yeah, of course,
election.
the candidate, the other side, it has been affected by the Katonga Najanankumbi factor, and that's why the FDC candidate is seconded by Amriat and who Nandala. Then the issue of NUP. NUP is trying, because I have told you when you have Hoima, you almost have the entire world. You have seen NUP is very poor at mobilizing even abroad. So you will find that the investors that are coming in Hoima, if NUP gotten that opportunity, it would even be mobilizing abroad. But
Emmanuel Kisembo, I'm afraid I'm out of time. The top of the hour is fast approaching. I would have loved to continue this discussion to all dimensions and parameters that you might want to tackle, but I'm going to have to say we have discussed what is sufficient for the day. David Musiri, head of institutions at the National Unity Platform, many thanks for coming and sharing your perspective, and of course many thanks to you too, Emmanuel Kisembo, for that perspective. The latest is that there is rain that is pounding Hoima City and has affected some of the polling stations within there. At least 173 polling stations across the entire district will be attending to the 94,800 voters in this particular by-election. The results, as the day progresses, will be available by a team that is on the ground, and in our subsequent bulletins, NTV at 1, NTV Akaungezi, as well as NTV Tonight, we shall be bringing you all of that. Do stay with us. For now, though, I'm Chris Higenyi. I'll say my goodbyes and express my thanks to the team behind the scenes for ensuring